So today's video is going to be a bit more of a serious one about ancient history, specifically to do with Göbekli Tepe. The video itself is by Wandering Wolf and it is titled Göbekli Tepe, Olive Trees Removed, Shocking Footage 2025 Update with Bright Insight, who is Jimmy Corsetti, and Nikki Anna Jones. Now, I watched this video last night and I was completely speechless. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I wasn't going to make a video on this, but then I watched the entire video and I thought, it's just insane. Everyone needs to know about this. So guys, do me a favor, if you do like the video, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Göbekli Tepe
Wandering
in Turkey
Wolf.
was one of the few remaining major sites in the world I had yet to visit. The stage was set for this trip over the last
place is
year
insane.
as my good friend Jimmy Corsetti from Bright Insight blasted the archaeological community for their defense and lack of speaking out against the trees covering unexcavated areas at one of the world's oldest and most
See, that's really important. They've been speaking out a lot on Twitter or X about how, so originally there was olive trees that were planted on top of Göbekli Tepe. So this whole site of these unexcavated parts, there was a massive uproar about these trees being planted. And initially they came out and said, no, the roots are going to grow horizontally. There'll be absolutely zero damage to the structures whatsoever. And we're going to keep an eye on it. Then I can't remember what the time scale was. I think it was like 6 months, like less than a year. But they then realized that not only were they not growing horizontally, but they had started damaging the stones, which is just ridiculous. This is quite literally one of the oldest sites on the planet currently that we know of. And it's just, it seems like it's just being treated like like any other site, like just so poorly. But now, after all of the uproar and after stirring so much stuff online, the trees have been removed, which is amazing.
Sites. The public pushback created the environment necessary to enact real change, and its continued persistence demanded accountability that actually resulted in the trees being removed. So, now seemed like the perfect time to see the site, document for ourselves how Göbekli Tepe was being excavated, cared for, and managed in the midst of all this change and controversy. Unfortunately, just like many other major archaeological sites I've visited in the world, what I found was all too familiar, even beyond the issue of the trees. In this video, I'll be pointing out several troubling issues I spotted while here, which may leave you shocked and a bit disappointed.
Apologies if I don't say much during this, by the way. I watched this last night, and even then, I was just in disbelief and I was speechless. I did not know what to say. It's you're going to see, it's a great video. Like, they go into a lot of detail, and they get to show you a lot as well, a lot that you probably wouldn't see in other videos. So really do pay attention if sort of ancient history is something that you're into, because you're going to see some amazing stonework. Let's crack on.
We are on our way now to Göbekli Tepe. We're going down the road. I think we are about, I think we're about 5 miles away. Jimmy's going undercover. He's got the hat and glasses that he's going to be wearing. We're excited to get in here and explore and see what we see. You know, we're going to try to get some shots of the trees. There he is, Mr. Incognito.
So due to the controversy that this gentleman on the right, his name's Jimmy Corsetti, he's stirred up a lot of stuff about Göbekli Tepe specifically. And because of that, and the attention that he's brought to it, there was like a few sort of threats thrown around saying that you're not allowed to enter the site, or you're going to be taken away from the site or removed from it, or if you try to access, or what. I can't remember the specific words that were used, but he's in a disguise for that reason, basically, because he wants to still go to the site. He wants to still go and see it for himself. But yeah, it's just funny that you even have to do something like this nowadays. It's insane. It really is.
Where in the world is Jimmy Corsetti?
So the trees were planted on
Look at the size of the site. Like, all of these, where the trees are in front,
before eventually being taken over by the government, then
it's
entering
insane.
into a 20-year sponsorship agreement with the Doges Group, who specializes in tourism and media. This agreement provides significant investment from the company, allowing for the building of all the structures that now exist on the site. Before we get fully into that, let's talk about the trees. The trees have been cut down, but the roots remain. It will be interesting to see how that is handled. Will they be removed as well? Or was all of this for show to assuage public outcry? If not handled correctly, the root systems could cause further damage, as the actual trees may not all be dead and could continue to grow. I've seen the extensive amount of damage root systems can cause.
Look at all the individual trees they had to cut down
during my travels.
And this is all over the site.
What is also concerning is the pushback from the archaeological community, firstly, about the trees, and secondly, in regards to the roofing system in place, which myself and Jimmy have been sharing on X since returning. The response has been bewildering, as they have consistently defended all kinds of things at the site that have no basis in archaeology. Specifically, the massive pillars supporting the roof and walkway for tourists that pierce directly into the heart of the archaeological site.
It's so scary to see this.
Examining their placement, how this was done without damaging the site, but I later learned exactly how it was done after visiting Karahan Tepe, where they are currently in the process of building a roof now. I'll be sharing detailed footage of that in another video soon, so you can see exactly how this is done and exactly what was involved in placing these massive columns here at Göbekli Tepe. I can't overstate just how concerning this is to me, and have been baffled by those choosing to defend this online recently. But it's been the same crowd that also defended the trees. The surprising part is the ones who benefit the most from this type of construction, myself and other content creators, tourists, and visitors, are the ones speaking out against this the loudest. But in all fairness to the field of archaeology, the only thing they may really be guilty of is most of the community's silence against this type of handling of ancient sites.
To think this was done nearly 12,000 years ago.
Who continue to defend this type of handling of our past. In 2016, the Doges Group entered a 20-year sponsorship agreement with the Ministry of Culture and Tourism in Turkey, announced at the World Economic Forum in Davos, pledging $15 million to support excavations, build visitor facilities like the 2018 Visitor Center, and promote the site globally.
Okay, so we got our tickets, no problem. We gotta go through another point up here. Jimmy looking sufficiently undercover. I love it. This place, just on initial impression, is just hugely already set up for tourism. I mean, it's like already developed to the point of other major sites around the world, and they're building more. When we drove in, there was a huge development going on there, so it's a whole thing. But I'm excited to get up here and see.
This deal effectively hands them significant control over tourism revenue streams. Think ticket sales, guided tours, and merchandising, since they funded and managed the modern infrastructure. The Doges Group, with its vast portfolio across automotive, tourism, and media, with 250 plus companies and billions in revenue.
I really want to go. I will go here one day, 100%.
And a cash cow with plans for greatly increasing tourism. Their CEO, Ferit Sahink, a WEF regular, likely sees this as both a business opportunity and a cultural flex. Archaeological efforts, led by the German Archaeological Institute and the Sanlierfa Museum, don't directly generate profits. They're funded by grants and the Doge's sponsorship. Any profits from their work, like academic prestige or artifact discoveries, are supposed to stay within the scientific and governmental sphere, not private hands. So who gets the money? The Doges Group likely takes the lion's share of tourism profits given their investment and management role, while the Turkish government collects a cut via taxes, oversight fees, or direct revenue splits. The exact terms of the deal aren't public. The split depends on their agreement, but Doge's deep pockets and tourism expertise suggest they're the bigger winners financially.
Yeah, look, that's the size. So this is what is currently excavated. And it's insane. Enclosure D is one of sort of the more exciting enclosures because it holds pillar 43, which is the one with, it's the one that's most commonly known about with the 3 handbags or handbags or whatever. But there is so much more to be excavated, which just isn't going to be by the sounds of things. And it's It's such a shame. It really
What is
is.
happening in Turkey is just the latest and currently the most covered issue at an ancient site, but it certainly isn't unique. I'm not sure what the blowback will be from documenting and sharing all of this, but it needs to be brought to light.
All right, so just getting up here, I mean, everything is just completely already moving into like this entire focus on tourism, you can tell. I mean, there's gift shops up here at the top. You got to take a shuttle up to the top. They're already building gift shops and all sorts of stuff up here. The actual area isn't that big. Let's see, there's sheep and goats all over. So we're walking up to the be interesting to see what come up upon here.
At the top of the ladder of importance, the highest rungs seemingly belong to profitability of each site, and I find this to be greatly disturbing. The evidence is in the outcome. I will also have another video releasing soon showing what I have documented around the world. I'm not just speaking from a biased perspective, but rather sharing what I've seen with my own eyes, which I will in turn be sharing with you very soon. Here are some of the key details of the site. Göbeklitepe was first discovered by German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt in the 1960s and has been dated back 11,000 years, making it one of the oldest known man-made structures in the world. Multiple limestone T-pillars arranged in circles are the highlight of the site, standing up to 20 feet tall and weighing up to 10 tons. Carved with intricate reliefs of animals.
Just look
like
at how
foxes,
amazing this place
snakes,
is, man.
boars, and birds, as well as abstract symbols.
It's very easy to look at something like this and just say, it's just a bunch of stones. But what you've got to think is they're up to 20 foot tall, and they weigh, I think it's like 10 to 15 tons. It's like, to do that now is amazing with the precision that they sit at. It's just incredible. And then, but you think 11 to 12,000 years ago. Yeah, I mean, we're told that 12,000 years ago, 11,000 years ago, that people that were around were just primitive, using sort of hammer and chisel, and it just doesn't seem right. Like, it really doesn't. And I've got something that I'll show you, maybe in another video. But it was a question that it was asked by Jay Anderson to AI. He worded something so brilliantly to ask a question whether any of the sites around the world would be considered to have a advanced technology. And the answer that came back was just unbelievable. And I think I'll probably do that in a separate video to show you that. But I tried it for myself using the same prompt that he used, and what came back was just insane. Like, in conclusion, there is a number of sites, quite a large number of sites around the world that give off, or at least show signs of, a lost ancient technology that we no longer have available to us. It really, really is so amazing to have something like AI, which is arguably not great as well, but to have something like that can give such a specific answer with no bias, with no like mainstream narrative, with nothing like that. It will give that answer, and it makes so much sense. But I'll show you in another video anyway.
The current theory is it was all built by hunter-gatherers before the advent of agriculture. But for many, including myself, this just feels like holding on to an old narrative instead of adjusting our understanding of history to newly discovered findings. It is believed the site was purposely buried around 7000 BC.
Any of the signs that come up, the ones that are actually at the site itself that he zooms into, if you do want to read them, just pause it very quickly. I did the same thing last night. I went through and I paused it and read it. So I'm not going to pause it now, but if you'd like to, then I would suggest just pausing it, read through it, and then we can move on, because it does teach you a few things that even I didn't know about just the history of the site itself, and it speaks also about some future plans and stuff like that. So it's definitely worth a read.
Fraction has been excavated. As we learn more and more, Göbekli Tepe has been rewriting our understanding of history in real time. One of my favorite explanations is the correlation to the Bible and Noah's Ark, where he built an altar to the Lord after the floodwaters had receded, and that this is that altar or holy place. with an actual site for the resting place of the ark claimed to have been identified in eastern Turkey.
This is
not
insane
that
as
far
well.
away. Another site I hope to get to visit eventually and document. Anyways, accounts from the Bible aside, with just these few details.
I'm actually going to look at covering that as well. I'm not myself a religious person. I don't follow sort of any of the sort of typical religions, but I would consider myself something like an agnostic kind of. I don't follow any religion, but I do believe that there is a creator, I guess. But from what I've seen and what I've researched into our ancient past, there is a lot of ties to some of the stories in the Bible, and it's really interesting, like really, really interesting. So I'm definitely going to cover that at some point in the near future.
Just how important this site is to our collective history, which is why there has been so much controversy surrounding it, its preservation, and its excavation, which currently is at only 10%, with predictions that it will take another 150 years to fully excavate. Call me pessimistic, but with the current infrastructure in place for tourism and clear plans for further development on and around the site, as well as what I've seen around the...
To think this place was purposely buried about 1,000 years after the original building. Okay, right. I found my cursor again. Okay, so these ones here. So obviously you've got the pillars here. These standing ones, the T-shaped pillars, they were all the original standing stones. And then these ones that are stacked go throughout the entire site to bury it on purpose by whoever. Insane. No one knows why. People speculate that it could have something to do with the Great Flood, or the flood myth that is turning out to probably not be so much of a myth. But no one knows, and it's insane. Like, these people took all this time to bury this site so perfectly like this. And they're even saying that it wasn't buried on purpose now, which is laughable, to be honest. You can literally see that these stones have been placed rather than falling into place.
World at other famous ancient ruins, it is hard not to doubt the sincerity of the claims for progress, with the interest of discovering more about our history being the priority.
It's just insane.
So this is amazing to be here and experience this and get to see everything. The pillars are incredible, and the reliefs on those are incredible. There's one I think is being blocked right now, though.
Sorry about the wind.
Type thing that's crawling up the side of it. It's really awesome. You know, it does suck to see how developed the site is in terms of for tourism and how, like, it's not developed in a way that it's like around it. It's developed in...
Sorry, just move myself out of the way slightly.
In the site. The poles here that provide all the roof cover and everything like that. I mean, they go directly into the site and plug into the ground in the site. The only reason for that is for tourism, and so that we can be right here when we're experiencing this. That's the only reason for it, because...
That is cool. That's really, really cool that they, for tourism, to be that close to something like this is amazing. However, these sort of legs that hold up this entire platform and the roof and all this, they go directly into an unexcavated site. I'm gonna continue, but that is just a shame.
You could still see this from a distance without putting the walkway directly into the site. I've wanted to come here forever, so it's incredible to be here.
So I've been out here in Göbeklitepe for about 30 minutes, and there's a few things that stand out. One of which is that this is worse than I thought. Look at all this debris, these stones that could stand to be removed. Are you telling me they could remove more than this by now? If you really study and look, like, how could they not clear more of this out? All the photos that I've seen online didn't truly paint a picture of the reality of just how much more of this could have been removed by now. That's number one. Number two, I actually have a few points. So number two would be, with this infrastructure of the viewing platforms and these steel beams stabbing thickly into the archaeological site itself, this illustrates that there's no intention to fully excavate this site. They'd have to remove this platform to do it. End of. Number three is that there's so much debate on whether this site was purposely buried, or with the studies, what these archaeologists are now saying is that no, it was the result of a landslide from the hill above. The hill is right there, and there's pillars standing up inside those stones. All of this is every reason to believe that if you see these stones, if this was a landslide, over there would have been destroyed and knocked over and obliterated. This is every reason to think that these stones were stacked and purposely buried, just as originally thought by Klaus Schmidt, the original archaeologist that worked this site. And I'm sorry, I'm just not seeing it. I mean, that hill up top is not big enough to justify saying, oh yeah, just slid in. They said it was multiple slides in. No, like that, I don't understand. Like, do they really buy that? Like, that's not what that looks like. I got extensive video and pictures of it from up top there. Like, no, this validates that this was purposely buried in my mind. But honestly, brother, my big takeaway, my initial impression of this is like, really, they couldn't have removed more than this? Look at all these stones. Look at all this. They could have removed more by now. They're not going to do it. Or at least they haven't done it, which is inexcusable. Yeah, this is just a little bit different than I had thought. It's impressive. I love it. But this, as far as an archaeological excavation standpoint, it's actually worse than I thought. And we haven't even gone to the areas to see the trees that have been removed yet. I guess we got to go up top or up here to get a good look. But yeah, man, this is... I'm disappointed in the excavation is worse than I thought. I could have removed more by now. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, are you seeing what I'm seeing? They could have just look. Even to remove a few more feet of it could be done. Why haven't they done it?
Bearing in mind, they started the excavation 30 years ago.
Those to see what's
3-0.
Because the pillars are buried so much that the whatever is depicted on them can't be seen. You can't remove that. Get out of here.
And like I was mentioning,
The place is insane.
The site is like, it feels like it's built for tourism now.
Yeah.
Because this walkway is built into the archaeological site. And you have these giant, massive poles going straight down into the middle of the site.
Piercing right through the archaeological dig itself.
Yeah. And you could create a walkway around the outside up here. Tourists would be further away. But what's the main focus here? Is it archaeology and excavating the site?
The key focus is not excavation.
No, it looks like they're
That's not what this is.
Yeah.
This is tourism focused. 100%.
Make that money.
Yeah.
Such a shame, man.
Check out the area where the trees are
let's
removed.
go. It feels like if the main focus here was excavation and archaeology and not tourism, where I'm walking right now would be where they would have built this. But this is literally going directly into the site.
I've actually got a point about this. So, as you guys know, recently I went and visited Stonehenge. Not once, but I went twice in January. The first time I didn't pay to get inside the circle. I just walked around the outside, and I'll put some pictures up on screen now to show you. But the site itself is massive. The same as Göbekli Tepe. You could see the stones, and you could see more or less everything from a distance. It's also not difficult to bring. So if you want to look closely, why not bring some binoculars? You know what I mean? It's in order to preserve a site like this, you really don't need to be that close. Like you can see from the pictures at Stonehenge, I was like a considerable distance, but I could still see everything. It really, honestly, it's really such a shame, because even at Stonehenge, where the actual henge itself is, basically a henge is a man-made ditch that is a circle that surrounds the stones in the middle. If you look from a bird's eye view, you can quite clearly see the massive man-made circle that's been dug out, and the same at Avebury as well. You can see it from a bird's eye view. But you really, really did not need to do this. They could have probably done something similar to Stonehenge, where if you just pay the standard admission price, then you get to walk around the outside of it. And then maybe if, I don't know, you pay a little bit more, you could by appointment, I don't know, take a bit of a closer walk around the site. I don't know. There was so many other options, but what they chose to do instead was to build inside an ongoing unexcavated site. Like it's baffling. And then there's people that are actually, and archaeologists are pushing back against what these people are saying and saying that no, this is a great idea. Like, are you actually serious? Like, it's such a disservice. It really is. And I'm not I'm not even anywhere near an expert. I've only been looking into this for the last sort of 3 to 5 years. It's just diabolical. I've been to, obviously, like I said, I've been to Stonehenge. I've been to Hadrian's Wall. I've been to numerous Roman sites while growing up, and nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, is as bad as this has been handled. It's honestly, it's scary. Like, I get the tourism side of things. I get the money that needs to be generated. I really do understand that. But there was other ways of handling that. Really, there really was.
Which is just wild to me. So Jimmy,
I don't know who that is.
I feel like you got this done, bro. Look at this. They're gone. They're all gone. And on the other side that we just showed, they cut them down.
So this is where all the trees were. Every one of these little holes that you can see was a tree being removed.
Hauling tree branches. I hope they're getting paid good because they're picking up and breaking their backs right now.
Yeah, they're out there hauling trees off.
My dad used to make me landscape the yard as a kid for allowance, and I hated it. Mowing the lawn wasn't so bad, but like trimming bushes and raking rocks and all that other nonsense.
But this was necessary. This is directly on the site, and I just can't understand how archaeologists were defending this at all, even a little bit, in any way.
You want to go over to this other viewing platform? This is the one where a guy had told me, the former landowner, that this roofing system over here is on the verge of collapse,
Yes.
and we won't work under it anymore.
Yeah.
So I want to see it with my own eyes.
Let's go.
All right.
It's scary. It really is.
Right here is what Jimmy's talking about, where they say the landslide came in. It's not high enough, and I don't know. I'm with Jimmy on this one. Yeah, so this backside, this is the area that Jimmy was pointing out.
It's Jimmy.
They're
They're gonna pretend
Bob.
this is a hillslide. Like,
Yeah.
really? You see all these stones? You see all like that's not what covered this up. And by the way, if you look closely over there, there's pillars standing out of the ground at the top of it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that pillar right here. What's on top of it? All of this stone, everything you see.
So they
here
built
is
a
all part of
walkway
the archaeological
over the
dig,
top of it.
and the viewing platforms were built right on top of it. That right there, like I said, it illustrates there's no intention of being excavated. Also, one of the key takeaways also from me visiting here is that this is clearly not evidence of a natural hillside to fill it in, because that's where the debate is that was this site purposely buried 11,600 years ago? Well, more recent studies by archaeologists are saying that it's more likely the result of a natural landslide from a hill. That's not what I'm saying. There's really pillars at the top of the hill. There's ruins all in there. All these stones, like, are you going to tell me that when you look at the nature of the actual, all the stones, the strata itself, if that was a hillslide, that came in, a landslide, I would have knocked over these pillars and broken them. And it's not even high enough. It just doesn't make sense. It's just not what I'm seeing here. It obviously was purposely buried, just like Klaus Schmidt had originally thought. The original excavator of the site, that was his key takeaway. And I'm sorry, anyone with eyes to see can say that makes no sense. Look at the nature of the stones themselves. It appears to be filled in, it appears to be purposeful. And then you have the trees. We have pictures of the roots going in and out. All the trees are now gone. And here we are to witness the very last day of them removing the trees. What are the odds of that? There's a truck out there. You got the footage. You got the shots. What are the odds of that? They're moving the last of them as we speak. Wild timing.
Honestly, guys, man. I hope this is kind of like obvious to you guys just how insane this has been handled. I really do.
Nikki Anna Jones, what'd you think of the site?
I don't know, still processing it. I like it a lot.
Indiana Jones is such a good name.
It's confusing how you would know if it was actually buried or not. It's confusing where it's at, like how they ever found this to begin with. And if this is here, then how much else is really around, like in the neighboring hills around it. It's like on the top of a weird rocky hill with a bunch of sheep on it.
See, this is a good point. This is something I was thinking about the other day, and I've actually been thinking about this for a while, but they say, or the current narrative that's sort of been pushed is that it was built by hunter-gatherers 11,600 or whatever, 12,000 years ago. And these people were just normal, your everyday hunter-gatherers. But I don't understand. If this was hunter-gatherers, which fair enough, like if it was, like amazing, cool. But this isn't the first time. It can't be the first time that they've done something like this. So where is the rest of them? Where are the other sites where they first started doing it? Because there's one that's not so far away called Tepe, which is, I believe, older and insane. It's just amazing. So where are the rest of them? You don't just wake up one day and just build 200 T-shaped pillars up to like 10 to 15 tons that we know of currently. It's just, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And there are so many people that are just accepting that. Yep, that's fine. But no, it doesn't make sense. Like this, something like this that early on, I can understand that the Turkish people it's their history and whatever, but in actual fact, it's everyone's, because that far back is a time that we didn't even think that people were able or capable of doing stuff like this. So, it's insane. Sorry that I'm being so serious in this as well, by the way. I know I'm not usually that serious, but this is something that I really wanted to bring to light because I watched it last night and genuinely, it scared me. Oh, horrible.
It makes you start looking around at everything going like, what else is buried all around everywhere? They have like this weird plaster that they put on stuff, which is confusing to me. Yeah, I liked it though. It was great. You should definitely come to Göbekli Tepe if you know, to do things.
I'd love to. I really would.
That just walk through perfectly sums up the problem with modern archaeology is it's all a show for money, tourism. I mean, this whole place, it's developed for tourism more than I expected. You can see that the plans for further development are extensive in the future. So it's just, I don't know, it's wild, you know? To see that money trumps preserving our history.
I had hoped for real change and a focus on preservation, excavation, and a renewed passion for the pursuit of understanding our collective ancient history. Instead, what I found was more of the same and further evidence that the institutions that are supposed to be speaking out the loudest in defense of these sites, the ones with the greatest amount of access, have let us all down for the sake of supporting a system focused on profit while spending their time online railing against content creators. Although the tide slowly seems to be shifting as more and more archaeologists are speaking out against this current system of handling ancient sites. All we can do until change happens is continue pointing out what we see. Thank you so much for watching. I'm glad to have you here. Make sure you stay tuned for my next video release exploring even more of what I discussed here, but from my findings all over the world. If you like this video, consider subscribing to the channel. It's the easiest and best way to support my work. Also, make sure you are following Jimmy here on YouTube and X.
Yeah, definitely do that.
Support him as well. He has a massive platform and is using it to shed light on these topics to a huge audience.
So a lot of people don't agree with what he says, but whether you agree or not, you can't deny that one, he gives a different look to what a lot of people do. And also, he's raising some points that whether you agree with them or not, they are points that need to be made. Like realistically, this should have been further excavated by now. 1995. It's 30 years ago. Honestly, it is insane to me how this is apparently acceptable.
And I couldn't be more grateful to him for his support over the years as I've continued to grow and share new content from my travels. If you have a love for ancient history and new discoveries, I encourage you to find somewhere to get plugged in with others who share your passion. We can all contribute, each in our own way. You can follow me on X to keep up with me in real time as I continue
Really
to
do
explore the
that.
world. Or meet me in person at an event, conference, or tour. I'd love to shake your hand.
Mate, Wandering Wolf. What an insane video. And I really do urge you guys to go and check out the rest of his videos as well, because he has so many like drone shots around sites that, one, you won't even heard of before, but also just a complete different angle that you wouldn't see probably on other videos. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts on this. To me, this is a real concern. Like, really, considering this is supposed to be one of the biggest mysteries currently. 12,000-year-old site, up to 10% excavated. I don't know. To me, it's just, and I mean, they're building the pillars inside the site, and they're going into the site to support the thing over the top just for tourism. I agree with tourism, but I think to this level is insane. I don't know, guys. Let me know your thoughts. It was more of a serious video, and for that I apologize. I will go back to the other stuff, but for now, let me know what you think. And if you like the video, do me a favor, like the video. I'm going to leave the links for Wandering Wolf and also Jimmy Corsetti in the description below. So please do go and check them both out. This video was absolutely amazing. So huge respect to Wandering Wolf for putting this together. And yeah, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.